Back when the Age of series of comics was announced along with the lineup of characters, a lot of people, myself included, thought we'd be getting some backstory for all of them. That was especially exciting for characters like Snoke or General Grievous. While we've had some new backstory dropped here and there, the series has been more a deep dive into the characters and what makes each of them tick. But the Rose comics seemed the most like just straightforward character history. We learn about how she and Paige grew up on Hayes Minor, knowing little about the rest of the galaxy but hoping to see it one day. When the First Order came to rip their planet apart for resources, they attempted to sabotage them but had little effect, and so their parents found a way to smuggle them off-world to join the Resistance and bring back help. But that didn't happen in time, and the First Order opened up the core of Hayes Minor, destroying the planet and killing its inhabitants. Rose and Paige wanted to steal a bomber and die, destroying the biggest First Order target they could find, but they were stopped by Leia. She told them she would let them go if vengeance was all they sought, but encouraged them to not die as a minor inconvenience to the First Order, and instead live on to be a constant frustration. The sisters agreed and steeled themselves to rejoin the fight. This issue felt a little odd to me simply because it was more backstory than I'm used to in these, and a lot of it was stuff I already knew from the book Cobalt Squadron, but it was beautifully written. The image of Leia standing in their way and then sympathizing with them over the loss of their family and home was incredibly moving, and I think far more impactful than the book was. And I want to dig into Leia's words a little more. Rose and Paige were about to go on a suicide run that would have ultimately been meaningless in the name of revenge. Boy, that sure does sound familiar, doesn't it? Finn was about to do the same thing in The Last Jedi until Rose stopped him. Finn would not have stopped the First Order, he would have died as a minor inconvenience, but in life he could do so much more. Knowing that Rose and Finn both went through the same thing makes me want them to be very important in the war effort in The Rise of Skywalker. My gut reaction to Rose stopping Finn was disappointment, I admit that. I thought it would have been a very good end for his arc to go from Stormtrooper to just out for himself to ready to die for his friends, and I've seen people point out that Holdo went on a suicide run and we're meant to like that and cheer for it, but then we're immediately supposed to turn around and root against Finn doing the same thing. Here's why I think they're different. Finn's motivation was to hurt the First Order. He wouldn't have saved his friends, he just wanted to defiantly hurt the enemy. Holdo did what she did to save lives, and she did. The Resistance absolutely would have been wiped out then and there if it weren't for her. I think the fact that Finn's speeder is falling apart is meant to show us that his sacrifice would have been pointless in the end. But I'm getting off track a little bit. Rose and Finn have both been stopped from suicide runs because they can do so much more in life. I'm a big believer or hoper in the Stormtrooper Revolt theory for Episode 9. I want to see Finn prove that these soldiers trained from birth can break out of their programming. If he were to neutralize the bulk of the First Order's army, wouldn't that be far more impactful than maybe destroying a battering ram cannon? Because Finn is probably the only person that can influence the Stormtroopers in that way, and he wouldn't be around to do it without Rose, and she wouldn't have learned the proper lesson to save him without this comic. Obviously, there's a strong chance I'm way off the mark on the Stormtrooper Revolt thing, but my ultimate hope is that Finn and Rose both have a greater destiny to fulfill in Episode 9. They have both been saved from pointless sacrifices, and I want to see that pay off. Let them do something very significant in the fight against the First Order, and prove that they could do more in life than they could in death. But let me know what you thought of this issue in the comments. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.